Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliet. So in this video I will be showing you how I made a corporate shirt for a little boy. So here I have my fabric folded into two using the chest measurement I'm working with divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches of allowance and another 2.5 inches for the button overlap. So I'm marking the 2 inches, the 2.5 inches I added extra here, and I'm going to fold it in. Yeah, so that will be for the button and the buttonhole later on. So I'm going to fold it in for now while we continue with the rest of the cutting. So for the back is longer than the front for width 2 inches. So the length of the shirt for the front I added extra 1 inch for folding and joining and all of that. Then the back is now 2 inches longer than the front. And then for the folding, it's just the chest measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches for allowance. So I'm placing the front on top of the back, like so. Next, I'm marking the shoulder measurement divided by 2. So shoulder divided by 2 is what I marked here. And then the armhole I marked 6 inches. I'm using 6 inches for the armhole. I think that was the same for the shoulder divided by 2. And yeah. So this is for a 4-year-old boy. So next I marked the neck 2 inches. I marked the neck width, which is 2 inches. Then the neck depth 2.5. So you can mark 2.5 by 2.5. It will work just fine. Then on this armhole line, I came down by 1/2 inch, and then I'm connecting to that 2 inches neck width. So next up, from that 1/2 inch we came down, I marked 1.5 inches up, and then on the neckline I also marked 1.5 inches up, and that will be the extension for the back. So I'm curving the front neck. I also extended the line to the neckline to the back piece. So from that 2 inches line we drew on the back piece, I'm coming down by 1/2 inch. So from that 2 inches, I'm coming down by 1/2 inch. That will form the back neckline. So I just made a tiny curve. So the back neckline will be like 2 inches. Let's put it that way. So I cut the shoulder slant. I'm cutting only the front piece. I'm not cutting together with the back, as you can see. Then I'll follow the extension like that, and then cut out the neckline using that, following that 1/2 inch and like that. So I just fold the back over the front, and I'm trying to see if my armhole is not too much, and I got exactly the same thing. So I just curve that and then cut it out. So next here I'm marking 1/4 of the chest measurement here. You can add extra for ease, it's optional. So I'm connecting it with the straight line. I marked the same thing on the down part, the same chest divided by 4. And then from the down part I marked 4 inches upwards, and then I'm making a curve like so. You know that type of curve you see on your shirts. Yeah. And I'm going to cut it out. Just trimming back the seam allowance. So moving forward, I'm going to divide this front piece into two. I'm also going to notch that point, that 1.5 inch point, both up and down. Then I cut it open. Next up, I'm folding 1/2 inch to the wrong side, folded 1/2 inch, and I ironed it flat. Then I folded again, making sure this time around it stops at the notched point. That will be the center, that's like the center piece, and this is what we have. So you fold 1/2 inch and then fold again to stop at that notched point. Fold half. So at the end of the day, we're going to have 1 inch left for the extension. So when you fold 1/2 inch, you fold again 1 inch and iron it flat. Take it to the machine and just sew it down. So for the back, I'm going to cut a facing. Is it facing or yoke? Yeah, that thing at the back of the shirt. I'm going to cut that. So what I did, I placed the back piece on top of another piece of fabric and then I traced it out. So from the middle of the armhole, I traced out the neckline and then the shoulder like that. So I'm going to connect it straight to this other side, just using my eyes to get a straight line. I want it straight. So next I'm folding in 1/2 inch to the wrong side, just to keep it in place before we sew it. So here's the back piece. This is the right side of the back piece. So I place the facing on it like so. I'm going to pin the neckline. So the facing is sitting on the right side of the back piece. It's going to be on the outside. We're not turning the neck with it, just placing it, and I'll go and sew it down. I just need to pin it so it stays where it should stay. I'm just going to make a straight stitch across like so. After which, this is what we have. I'm ironing to make it flat. And I've also sewn the front pieces like I mentioned earlier. I'll also iron and I'll also trim the excess hanging on the upper part. So this is how it's going to sit when we are done. So next off, I'll be joining the shoulders together. I'm just removing the pins that I pinned earlier. So I'm putting the shoulders together, right sides together, and then I will lift the facing piece and turn it to the other side like so, and then I'll go and sew it down, but I'll pin it first. I'll go and sew it, and then I'll place it again, and then turn one piece to the other side. That way we will have a clean finished shoulder. So after sewing, this is what it's looking like, and as you already know, I'm going to iron it flat again. You see the shirt is coming out already. So next I'm measuring the armhole. After arranging it properly, I'm measuring the armhole like so. We're going to use that to cut the sleeve. So whatever I got from measuring the armhole is what I use to fold. Exactly that. So I fold my fabric like so, and then mark out the length plus extra 2 inches. So it's a short sleeve. I'm adding extra 2 inches because I want a wide hem or a wide fold. So I've cut that out, and then I placed it to cut exactly so for the second sleeve. And as you already know, I iron. Next up, on the open end, I come down by 3 inches, and then I make a curve like so. After which I go follow the curve and then measure till I get to that point where the same figure I got when I measured the armhole. I'll mark it, and then I mark the sleeve round divided by 2 plus extra 2 inches, and then I connect to the upper part. And I cut. So next I fold the sleeve to the wrong side. Remember I added 2 inches of allowance, so I'm going to be folding 1.5. The remaining half we'll use to join the sleeve to the shirt. So I fold 1.5, and then I fold another 1/4 of an inch on the upper part. Iron it in place before I sew it down. So I just place this second sleeve on top of the first one just to get that accurate length without having to measure a second time. After which I will go and sew it down. So after sewing, I ironed it again, and then I'll fold it into 2 to get the center point. That will help us with joining the sleeve to the shirt. So here is the shirt. We're going to be pinning the sleeve to the shirt. We'll go and attach it. So I start from the middle, the center of the sleeve to the shoulder of the shirt. So I pin it all around, and then I will go and sew it all around as well for the two sleeves. After sewing, this is what we have. The sleeve is attached. So next we join the shirt together. I'm folding it into two, folding the back part of the shirt into two, and I'm going to be marking the measurements. So here I mark a quarter of the chest measurement, and then the same quarter of the chest measurement on the down part. So the chest measurement is the biggest measurement on the child, but if the stomach area is bigger, you will use that. In this case, the chest is bigger, and that is what I used. So I mark it up and down and straight. So I'll pin it. After marking that, I'm marking the sleeve too. This is half of the sleeve measurement. I connect it to that like so. And then on this side as well, I mark half of the sleeve. For the sleeve is half. So the sleeve round is 10, half of that is 5. So I mark that 5, and then I connect to the rest of the body like so. I'll take it to the machine and sew down those lines. After which I will trim back the seam allowances, leaving just about 1 inch or thereabout. I will also iron the side seam flat. Can you see that curve? Oh my god, it's so beautiful. So after ironing like so, we'll move over to drafting the collar and the collar stand. So I'm folding into two like so, folding the neckline into two. I'm going to measure that around. We'll be using it to draft the collar and the collar stand. So here is gum stay. So there's something called collar gum or collar stay or something that is hard specifically for the collar. So if you can use that, fine. I'm just using gum stay here, and this particular one is the medium weight. So I folded it into two, and then I marked what I got when I measured the neckline. So I'm marking exactly what I got when I measured the neckline, and then I marked 1 inch up. So this is the collar stand. First of all, it's 1 inch wide. So I'm dividing into two, So what I got from my measuring my neck, I divide that into two and I mark it here. That's like the center of this piece. And then on this open end, I come up by ½ inch, and then from the bottom I come up by ½ inch as well. Then I connect to that center point that I marked. Let's say the collar is 9 inches, half of that will be 4½. So after that, I make a curve like so, and then I cut out. I'm going to cut a second one. Because this is not hard enough, I'm cutting two. If you were using something hard and appropriate, you only need one. So that's it for the collar stand. So over to the collar itself, I'm ruling a straight line which will serve as a guide, and then I'm marking 2 inches. So the collar is going to be 2 inches high. The collar height is 2 inches. The collar stand, the height was 1 inch. Then I mark half of what I got from the neckline here, and then the same thing on the down, and I connect with a straight line. So next I come in by 1 inch from that point. I come in by 1 inch like so, and then I connect that edge in a slant, as you can see. Then on this other end that is folded, I will mark ½ inches up and then connect in a slant back to this end, as you can see. And that's it. I'm going to be cutting that out and folding it over, so I cut out two at the same time. And that's it for the collar. So I'm going to be labeling it up. So that's the part that is going to be up. I don't know how to explain. The same for this one too. I'm labeling that part up so that it guides me when I start to sew. Next, I will iron it on the fabric. So I'll iron all of the pieces. I'll glue all of the pieces on my fabric and then cut out using adding ½ inch round all of them. So I'm not cutting exactly. I'll add ½ inches all around all of the pieces before cutting. You will see in a minute. So I'm measuring the ½ inches round that I mentioned. Just mark it all around and then cut all of them out. So I'm notching the center point. That is going to help later with the sewing. So next up, I'm going to put the collar, the two collar pieces on top of each other, and that part are labeled up. We're going to sew it close, and then the two sides, leaving the bottom open. After sewing, we're going to turn it out and then give it a good press, using my scissors to push out the corners. Next up, I'll take the collar stand and then place it, so that part that are labeled up is the part that is going to be pinned to the collar stand. So I'm notching both of them in the middle to match the middle of the collar itself. See, like so. So we're going to go and sew close that with the collar in the middle, like that, to the sides down. So I lost a clip, I'm so sorry, but this is what it will look like after joining together. So from here, you will now sew it to the neckline, such that the neckline will be in between the two collar stand pieces, and this is what we have. And that's basically it for making a shirt for a little boy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.